the interaction between vaccine uptake and time passed in months since the beginning of 2022 is strongly significant, and implies that the mortality increase and the higher the vaccine uptake, so implies that the mortality increases the higher the vaccine uptake. So the more people had vaccines in 2021, that was vaccines in 2021, and this was increasing deaths in 2022. There is a positive correlation between the two. The higher the vaccination rate, the higher the deaths. The lower the vaccination rate in 2021, the lower the excess deaths. Now, of course, these are correlations, so they rightly went on and looked at other things that could be causing this. Potential reverse causality they looked at. Could it be the excess mortality that was causing the vaccinations? Well, they eliminated that because, of course, the excess mortality came after the correlation. You know, from the need for temporal correlations, that the cause has to come before the effect. But anyway, they carried on. Concerning alternative explanations, we controlled for average all-cause mortality in 2020 and 2021 by dividing the average between 2016 and 2019. So the mortality data they were taking was from before the pandemic. So that got rid of that variable. Relatively low mortality at one period is followed by relatively high mortality and later on, vice versa. So in other words, what they're saying here is, well, if lots of people died in 2020, you'd expect, or 2021, you'd expect fewer people to die in 2022. And the exact opposite was the case. But they did mathematically account for that. So we know that that is not the cause of the excess mortality. But even when they took account of this, direct quote from the paper, we still observe a significant association between 2021 vaccination uptake and 2022 monthly increase in all-cause mortality. Countries with higher vaccines in 2021 had a higher all-cause mortality in 2022. Now, they did acknowledge what's called the ecological fallacy. Now, this would say that because something is true of a nation, it's not necessarily true of individuals, which of course is true, and they acknowledge that. We are cautious about making individual level inferences from our nation level findings. So very honest of the researchers there. Now, excess mortality caused by delayed medical treatment or diagnosis, which of course is the main reason given in the UK Parliament for the excess deaths, that it's caused by delays in medical treatment during the pandemic, and indeed the relative chaos in the NHS at the moment, which is true, but we cannot see that the issues have been more prevalent in high vaccine versus low vaccine countries. In other words, delay in healthcare is all over the place. All countries have delays in healthcare, but the correlation is still there. When they looked at the when they looked at the countries' when they looked at the vaccination rates, when they looked at that one, the correlation is still there. So they don't think it's caused by that, and they actually specify this, i.e. we do not expect delayed diagnosis or medical treatment during the COVID-19 pandemic to substantially have included omitted variable bias. So they don't think it's that. So there we have it. It's very clear that there's a positive correlation. It's in that paper there. The higher the vaccination rates were in 2021, the higher the excess mortality in 2022. So that's the end of this video. I've nothing more to say on that now. On a completely separate matter, I've been thinking of might go to the States and take up some start playing basketball. Nothing drastic. I'd probably just start with semi-pro and then build up. But I've been looking at the terminology, and apparently you have something called a slam dunk in basketball, and this is literally a goal scored in the basket by putting the ball straight down into the loop with one's hand. So that's a slam dunk. The same points as a traditional basket, but it's a show of force, dominance and skill. So a slam dunk is something that is completely convincing. As I say, nothing to do with this today's talk, but I'll need to use the correct terminology for when I'm playing basketball in the States. So do look out for me. I'm quite optimistic about it. But for now, thank you for watching.